So I will be explaining about group data, while Alicia here will explain about ungroup data. So I will go first and explain about group data. So in the exam, it didn't show the group data, but in case it will be added, I'll still explain it since it is still a part of the skewness and kurtosis. So let me just present my Excel. We will be using Excel for our tool to learn about skewness and kurtosis today. So I took some notes from Sir's lectures and some parts of the book as well to use for this review since it's very useful, especially the formulas. So to explain about skewness first, so over here, it's very messy. Yes, I know. Skewness is a measure of asymmetry of data set. A data set is considered as symmetric if it has the same appearance on the left and the right of the center point. So over here on this image, the one I'm dragging up and down. So here is what we have is approximately symmetric skewed. It is balanced on both left and right. It is the same, and the mean median mode is all in the center. As for positively skewed skewness, this curve here, the wait lang po. Sorry. So here we have the positively skewed curve. So the mode here, it's less. So the mode is less than the median and the mean. So the more it goes to the right, the more uh the greater it is. As for negatively skewed, this image over here, the mode is the greatest this time. So from right to left, it means it is less. It's more less. So the mean is less than the median, and the median is less than the mode. As for kurtosis, here, my explanations here. So kurtosis is a measure of the sharpness of the peak of a given set of a data with respect to the rest of the data set. It reflects whether a data set is high and peak or short and flat. So this image right here of it shows the leptokurtic. A leptokurtic is greater than 3, so it's more taller and it's more peak. And the mesokurtic is equal to 3, so it's more stable. It's not very tall, it's not very short, it's not very flat or very uh peak. Okay, so for platykurtic, it is a platykurtic is less than 3. So and the characteristic of its curve, it is more short, it is and the top is more flat. So now now that I explained the characters of skewness and kurtosis, I'll now try to solve a group data problem that I prepared here, and we're gonna try to find the skewness and the kurtosis. So later on, Alicia will explain on how to get the ungroup, but for now, I'll be explaining how to get the group. So usually the classes are given. But usually the class mark or the midpoint is not. So we will have to solve for that. I just put it there because usually it's in front of the frequency. So the table we're using is the new group table. So to find the class mark or the midpoint, we just add the lower boundary and higher boundary and we divide it with 2. So right here, if I press F2, I put the lower boundary, which is 73, and the 76, which is the higher boundary. I add it. I put it in a parentheses. Notice, because if I don't put a parentheses, then Excel will think I'm just dividing. I'm just putting 73 plus 76 over 2. So you have to include the parentheses. So Excel will think, oh, uh, I have to divide the whole thing, the when 73 plus 76 with 2. So now if you press enter, you will get 74.5, which is our midpoint or the class mark. Then we will get the summation of this. We just highlight all of it. Shift. You press shift, then you click to the cell, to the very bottom cell. You go to the home page and you just press auto sum. I'm not really sure where we can use the summation of x is for the group data at least, but in the tables I've seen in search lecture, he added it, so I'll just put it there just in case. Next is the frequency. So frequency is basically the amount of data scores is in that classes, because this is a group data. So those data scores are now grouped into those specific class with. So now the frequency is saying how much data scores are in that class with. So for 73 to 76, we have 10 data scores. Welcome, Charles. I'll explain it later naman. I have one more data group data example, so I'll try to explain it later since you went in late. Don't worry. So now, so usually this is given, or you have on just data scores, then you have to group it. But over here we have the frequency. Usually it's given, yes. So now we will get the summation of f. So again, highlight it all, shift click into the cell, to the last cell, then auto sum, and now we'll have the summation of f, which is Rn. So n is the number of data scores, total number of data scores we have in a table. So since frequency, this is a group, and the frequency is like the number of data scores are in a class with. So if we add it all, then we will have all the numbers of data scores we have. So for CF, make sure to get the n, because that's really important, very important. So for the CF, we will just basically be adding our frequency to the next. So since wait, the beside what do you call this? If it's in the same row frequency, I'm not sure how to explain this. So basically, you'll just keep adding the frequency with its next. So in here we have 10 since we don't have anything. So I'll just shift click that in case. Then if you're gonna solve something in Excel, make sure to put equals, because that means you're solving something. So we will now click the preceding CF and add it with the next plus sign, next CF, then enter. Since 10 plus 0 is still 10. So now we will just drag it down, since we already put what do you call this, a formula. So just drag it down. Then the last row of the CF should match the n value. After that, you don't have to do anything else with the CF. Next is our FX. So pretty much self-explanatory. You multiply the frequency with the class mark. So again, we're solving something in Excel, so we'll put the equal sign, then click which cell you want, or the frequency cell you want to put, and since in this row we have 10, so we click the cell of that frequency. Then shift 8, which is I don't know the name of that symbol, but that means multiply. So it's just the shift 8 on your keyboard. Then click the midpoint. So then enter. Then you should have your fx. Then since we already solved it in the formula bar, we can just drag down this green bar, then this green box, I mean. Then we now have a complete table of the fx. Then next we will find x squared or to the power of 2. It's pretty simple. We just get again equals, we get the x, then raise it to 2. The exponent, wait, just a sec. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So again, so the exponent symbol here is in your keyboard at least. So it's shift 6. So shift 6 in your keyboard, then just put the exponent you want to put. So just enter that, then you will have x squared or to the x to the power of 2. Then just drag it down, it should complete the table. Then for fx squared, pretty much the same process as the previous table. You just shift click that, then put the exponent of 2, then just drag it down. Then after that, we will now start. After we complete this 7, I believe, yeah, 7 tables, this per 7 tables, we can now start looking for our skewness. But first, the table is a bit incomplete. We still have to find the summation of fx, which we will do now. That is not supposed to happen. Let's remove that. Then the summation of x squared, then fx squared. I'll just color it so I won't get confused on which is which there. So these parts are the summations, and this part is the table. So now we will look for the mean. To get the mean, you just, what do you call this? You just get the fx, then you divide it with 50. So the fx, the value of fx, then divide it with our n, which is 50, and you should get our mean. And as for standard deviation, Tagalog. Sige, sige. Anong part, Stephanie? Wala naman si Samuel eh. Nag-i-English lang kasi ako dahil nasa grupo natin si Samuel. Eh, wala naman pala siya dito. So, which part? Which part? Ngayon ko lang nakita. Lahat ba? What about the others? May question ba? Bili, magtanong na kayo habang wala si Sir. Sa lahat. Okay. So, given na to lahat, yung class, from classes to frequency, given na yan. Yung class mark or yung X dito, usually hindi pa, wala pa yan, wala pa yan. So, usually yung classes lang and frequency yung complete. So, yung class mark or yung midpoint, isa-solve pa natin yan. So, very easy naman i-solve. So, yung de-divide mo lang yung the sum of your upper boundary and lower boundary, tapos i-divide mo yun with 2. Then, if you're gonna type it in Excel, kung itatype nyo sa Excel, dapat yung 73 plus 76, yung 73 lower class boundary and 76 is the higher boundary over here in the classes. Dapat nasa parentheses siya dahil pag wala kang parentheses, isipin ng Excel na you're just dividing 76 with 2. So, kailangan yung parentheses para kasama yung para isipin niya yung sum ng 73 and 76. Then, after that, you do the same for, gawin mo lang lahat yan sa ibang cells. Highlight mo lahat yan. Shift mo, click, then auto sum. Tapos sa frequency, since given naman yan, all you're gonna do is highlight it, tapos kuhain yung sum. Yung auto sum dito sa home tab ng Excel. Click mo lang yan. Tapos yung CF, just add it with its next and preceding. So for this one, since you're not gonna add anything, so you're gonna move on. So 10 plus 10, 10 plus 0, I mean. So it will be still 10, tapos 10 plus 5, 15, same. FX, self-explanatory naman. It just means you're gonna times yung frequency and class mark. So if you have to type it, just shift click, then the multiplication sign sa keyboard nyo is just shift 8 in the keyboard at least. And shift click class midpoint. Then there you go. You have the answer. Then you can just drag this green box to get the other answers. Then you get the summation. For here, the exponent sign is the shift 6 on your keyboard. Tas yung exponent sign, tas lagay mo lang yung exponent value, which is 2 because we want to square that. Then enter. Drag it down again. Sa same process dito sa for fx naman. Tas kuha yung summations tas ayun. Okay na ba? Okay na. Medyo minamadali ko. Sorry. Dahil meron pang ungroup. Yo. Saan i-multiply yung fx? Yung fx, yung frequency and class mark over here. Nakalagay na dito sa table, f and x. So you're just gonna times it. Ta-times mo lang yung fx sa kung anong row yun. Diba? Welcome, Alia. Meron pang isang example for group data, don't worry. Okay na, Seth? Well, meron pang iba. Okay, moving on then. So, standard deviation. I'm not sure on how to solve this on Excel, the standard deviation. For the new table at least. So, I use a different calculator for this. So, I'll be showing now the calculator I use. I'll share it in the link. So, wait, let me just stop presenting, then share the new. Okay. All right, so this is the calculator that I use. Mm-hmm. So this is the calculator that I use. So basically, I just put the variables, then N, A, B, then put the equals, then you'll put the value here. Then I just type the formula for standard deviation in that specific variable. For A, the variable I use for that is the fx squared, which is here. Wait, I'm not presenting my whole screen, sorry. Let me just change to my whole screen. Okay, here. So here in the Excel file, This is the formula for standard deviation. So for fx squared, I'm gonna use the variable a on the calculator, and the summation of fx, I'll be use the variable b. Then the n is just the n. So here in this calculator, you just put the value of what in the table. So that's what I'm using for me solving at least. You can use whatever method you want or whatever you're comfortable with, unless you get, because in the end the answer is what important. Uh, if you get it right, that is. So you just put there the variables, then you should get the standard deviation. Where yes. Okay, let me go back presenting the Excel. There you go. So now that we have the standard deviation, we just paste it there. I put it on the second decimal place. For the median, okay, so for the median, I just copied from one of the source notes again. So this calculator over here or whatever he made. So here the n, we just gonna change it. So our n here is 50. So now we're in 25. In this 25 over here, your answer here, we will now look for that in our CF. It should be equal or greater than. So here in our CF, we have 25, which is equal to it. So that is our median class. So now we will base it there. For the lower boundary, our lower boundary is 85.5, but we will put that as 84.5. So just think of it as minusing it with 0. 0.5. So 84.5. Our CF, it should be the preceding of the median class. So this is our median class over here. We just change the color for our median class over there. That's our median class. And our preceding CF for our median class is 15. So we just put 15 there. And the C is our class width. So for here, you can just minus the lower class boundary with the another class lower class boundary. So 77 minus 73, which is 5. No, 4. And the frequency, our median class is 10. Should have 88.5. So that is now our median. Any questions so far? Just type in the chat, open the mic. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so no questions. We'll continue. So for skewness, our formula for skewness is over here. So 3, then the difference of mean and median divided by the standard deviation. So to type it in Excel, it's over here. I type it here, but it's so small, so I'll just type it normally in the cell. So usually what I do is put it in a parenthesis, so it include the 3 when dividing the standard deviation. So I put the parentheses, then mean, our mean, shift click that, minus our median. Welcome, Samuel. Paano ulit makuha yung standard deviation? So, okay, so, okay, wait. Let me just complete the skewness and shift click the standard deviation. There you go. That's our skewness. So for standard deviation, the formula is over here. I'll give the Excel file I use here. Don't worry. On the GC I made. Uh, so what I use here is a different calculator since I don't know how to input it in Excel. So basically, the n, of course, which is the 50, you times it with the summation of fx squared. Then you minus those with the fx summation of fx, and you have to square that summation of fx. Then you divide it with n times n minus 1. Okay, wait. Let me show again the calculator I used to compute that. So here is the calculator I use to compute the standard deviation. So basically what I did is I just substitute the summation of fx squared and the summation of fx with different variables over here. So the summation of fx squared, I turned it into a, and the summation of fx, I turned it into b. Then I just input it in here in this formula, and it should give me the standard deviation. So I'll also give this link of the scientific calculator. Okay na ba, Hana, for standard deviation? Okay, okay. Back tayo sa Excel. Okay, so moving on, since we now have the skewness again, we'll be using this formula over here. So we will now try to identify what kind of skewness this is. So 0. Let's put that in the second decimal place. Okay, so negative 0.02. So that is approximately symmetric here. What is written here? Since it is in between negative zero point 0.5 and zero point 0.5, it is much closer to 0, so it is approximately symmetric. What is written here? So now that we have the skewness, we can now continue on to the rest of the table. So x minus mean. So we grab our x, if click, then minus our mean, 86.5, and just drag it down. So we'll move on for x minus mean squared. So again, just shift click that, then square it. Shift 6 on your keyboard for the exponent sign, then just put the value of your exponent and enter. And click the green box, drag it down. You should get the rest of the table. So for this, you multiply our frequency with our x minus mean squared. So let's grab our frequency, then the multiplication sign, then shift click x minus mean squared, then enter, then drag it down again. Uh, so this time we will be, instead of raising it to the power of 2 or squaring it, we'll raise it to the power of 4. So again, we'll grab our x minus mean, but this time we'll raise it to the power of 4, then drag it down again. Then the same process as for x minus mean squared. You just grab the frequency, then times it with our x minus mean to the power of 4, then drag it down. F F F X F X F times the x minus mean squared. Highlight those all. Then the F times x minus mean to the power of 4. We color that so I won't get confused. So for the M2, wait. Okay, so for the M2, you grab the F times x minus mean to the power of 2. You grab that, then divide it with our N, which is 50. That's our M2. I will get the F times x minus mean to the power of 4. Then divide it with 50 again. Now we can solve for A4, which is our kurtosis. The formula's over here. So M4 is our numerator and M2 is our denominator, but we have to also square the M2. So inputting it in Excel, equal sign, grab M4, divide it with M2 to the power of 2. Now we have our kurtosis, which is, oh, uh-huh. Wait a sec. Okay, so, sorry. So we now have 2.2. So checking here on, okay, so checking here on the notes here. So 2.2, it's platycritic because it's less than 3. So we'll now put, so to find the excess kurtosis or our G2, you just basically minus our A4 with 3, enter. Then that's our excess kurtosis. But we can also input this as parentheses 0.8, and we'll just write here that it is platycritic and it is approximately symmetric. So that is how you solve our group table for in finding the skewness and kurtosis. So one more example here, just one last example, then we can move on to ungroup, which Alisa will teach. So again, we'll try to speed this up. So 8, so here, enter, add it with it, add it with the next. So 10 plus 5, just bring it down. So fx, you times it with the frequency and the class mark, enter, drag it down again. You get the summation of that. Then x squared or class mark squared, drag it down, get the summation again. Then fx squared, just grab the fx, then square it by 2, then sum it. So now our finding our mean, grab our f, the summation of fx, then divide it with our n, which is 50. Standard deviation, again, I'll be using the calculator that I found for this. So you get our fx squared and fx, and you use the formula over here, and you should get the standard deviation, which is that. So then our for our median, oh, sorry, n 50, our n is 50, so we will get 25. Again, we'll find 25 in our CF. It should be equal to or greater than. It's not 24 because it's 24 is less. So we will now choose 45, which is greater than 25. So that will be our median class. So now input the infos for our median class. So 88.5. Our CF, our preceding CF is 24. G is sec. Okay, sorry. So 21 for our frequency. Then there is our median. which is 88.69. Then solving for skewness, we input it, the mean minus the median, and divide it with the standard deviation. Now we have our skewness. It's approximately skewed because it is in between negative zero point 0.5 and zero point 0.5. For x minus mean, which is minus with our mean, which is 87.07, drag it down. X minus mean squared, square that. Then we have to times that with our frequency, times frequency, and x minus means the power of 4 this time. And we do the same by multiplying it with our frequency. And now we can now look for our kurtosis. We get the summation of the f and x minus mean squared, then the power to the power of 4. Now we can look for our m2 and m4 to solve for the which is needed to solve for the kurtosis. You get the summation of this and divide it with our n, which is 50. Do the same for the other one, which for m4 and divide it with 50 again. In the a4, we'll use this formula over here. So our m4 divided with our m2, but the m2 is squared. Now we will have a Platty curtain because it is less than 3. Then for G2, which is our excess kurtosis, you just minus this with 3. Again, we can write that as 0.1 point, is actually 1 point. Yeah, and rounding that off, we'll have that as 1. So that is how you solve for group data. Now we'll move on for ungroup, which will be taught by Alisa. So thank you for listening. So if there's any more questions regarding group data, you'll feel free to message me in Messenger. Though I might respond late because I don't usually look at Messenger. So thank you.
Okay, hello. I'm Alisa and I will be teaching you about the ungrouped data. So first of all, ungrouped data is what we call the data that we first gather from an experiment or study. And it's usually a set of data that's just a set of numbers. So if we have the group data, it has frequency and the class and whatnot. Ungrouped data is basically just a set of numbers. I'll show you an example since I'll be on Excel. So can someone answer me? Can you see my screen here in Excel, if I may ask? Okay. I take it as we can see it then. So I will be having this example and I'll give another one later, but I just put one here. So it will be this Excel file along with this other file that was given to us by Sir Romel. It's in the math group chat somewhere. So first of all, this is already given, the X over here. So we have to just complete the data chart. So first of all, we have to find our n, and n usually that's just how many scores we have. So if you would count here, it's 10. So we have our n would be 10. So what we also do is we need to also find our mean, obviously. So to find our mean, we just grab these. Usually what you can do is highlight all of these. Oops, that's not what you do. You grab all of these. And if you go to home, you see this icon over here. That's what we call the sum. So if you click that, it adds everything for you. So for the mean, you just divide it. So, hold on. Where's my... So, for example, here our x would be, the total, the sum would be 864. So if we divide it by our n, which is 10, the answer would be 86.4, which is our mean. So now that we have our mean, we can just answer everything else. So it's x minus mean. So for instance, we can do, oops. So we can have shift and then click this and then minus this. And that we can get that. But yeah. You can do the same thing for literally everything else here, but it'll take a while, but that's how I do things usually. Or you can just drag it down, but you'd have to re-edit it anyway since it's wrong, as you can see. It's B16, so I can just edit this to B16 so it just forwards to that cell instead. Give me a while. I'll also give me a few seconds. I'll just rejoin the meet on another device so I can see quickly if you have any questions. So, okay. There we go. So moving on. Let's still continue doing this. Can you speak Tagalog? Yes, wait lang. So, ayun. So, yung ginawa ko is, I got the mean. Kinuha ko yung mean. And then, yeah, it's x minus mean. So, basically, it means yung x mo dito, minus mo lang dito sa mean. Tapos, these are the answers na makukuha mo. And so, for dito, here, in x minus mean raised to, you square it. So, what you can do is, since you already have yung x minus mean, you can just do this. We click shift, tapos left click this, and then shift again, 6, so you can have this button, tapos 2. So if you click na, ayan na yung sagot. And this, usually, ito na lang ginagawa ko since it's faster and it's easier anyway. And it's the same thing with dito, here in x minus mean raised to 4, except it's 4 and not 2. Get the thing. So, ayun ulit, you do this, raised to 4, and then you can just drag it down. And, hold on. We have to get the total of these also. Hold on, I'm going to color these to make it easier muna. So, what you can do is also add these. So, ayan, what I said earlier, you can highlight all of these. Home, click this thing. There, you added it. You can do it again for all of these. Okay. So now that we have our chart here, we have our variance, which we need as well. So for the variance, it's the sum of this, ito, yung sagot dito, the sum of that, divided by n minus 1. So since our n is 10, n minus 1, 10 minus 1, it would be 9. So you can just do this on your calculator. So it would be like 230.4 divided by 9. Yan. So let's just do that. divided by 9. That's our variance. And as for standard deviation, ST means standard deviation. So there is actually like a new way to do this. I thought this is the here. This is the new formula for ungrouped standard deviation. Pero I will be using the old formula just so you know. So the old formula, it's you just square root your variance. So if you were to square your variance, the answer would be what's wrong? Oh, wait. There we go. Ayan, so again, to get standard deviation, you square your variance. Next one is median. So square pala, not square root. Sorry, that was an accident. I meant square. Don't square root it. Wait, no, wait. Sorry, that's wrong. I used the wrong formula again. So to square root it, it's you type here SQRT, and then it's a variance, right? 25.6. There we go. There we go. Now it looks correct. Okay, so the next one's median. So median is you just divide n. So 10. So like you just divide it by 2, I believe. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. So you just get the fifth one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's E7. There, that's our median. And so next one is skewness. So in skewness, we have over here. So in skewness, the formula for this is 3 multiplied by mean minus median equals, divided by standard deviation. So we can also just have a thing you can input in Excel. So this is what you can do. So it's equal. You put a parenthesis here. So like what Rain mentioned, it's so that Excel can also include the 3. Ayan. So mean, our mean is 6.4 minus our median, which is 7. Ayan. So you can do that. And then another parentheses in case. Again, divided, this is the divided sign, standard deviation divided by shift. Get this. Okay, and here, that's our skewness. Okay. So the next one is M2, which is hold on, I'm trying to recall. Right, okay. So in M2, you get the sum of this. Like, so it's M2. Since it says 2 here, they're referring to this thing. So okay. I was checking the Gmeet, I'm sorry. So anyway, we have this. I divide it by our n. So since our n is 10, you just divide that. So the answer would be divide the mean x minus mean. So this. So equals the sum of this divided by our n, which is 10. So that's our, hold on. Yes, that is our M2. So M4, it's the same thing, but it's with this. So it's 4 raised to 4. So divided by 10. That's our answer. And so for A4 is kurtosis, and for kurtosis there is, where is it? It's here. Here. It's just M4 divided by, can you see this? Hold on. It's M4 divided by M2 squared. So we didn't M4. So we're gonna find our, this is our M4, right? Tapos divided by 1. That's that's that. And so for G2, you just simply get eto, kukunin mo lang eto, minus 3. And that's it for this. Tapos for skewness and kurtosis, you also have to figure it out. So we have to figure how this is skewed. So for instance, like here, it says here in skewness, there's highly skewed and highly skewed to the left, to the right, moderately skewed, then approximately symmetric. So kailangan natin i-figure out kung which is which. So keep in mind, this is negative 0.355, etc., etc. So hanapin natin dito. It would be somewhere here most likely. So it says here approximately symmetric is between negative 0.5 and 0.5. And yeah, that seems about right. So I'm just going to say it's approximately symmetric. And okay, so in here in kurtosis, we also have here, you can refer to this again. So here we have forms of kurtosis, which is leptokurtic, mesokurtic, and platykurtic. So again, leptokurtic is kapag yung sagot natin sa kurtosis or yung A4 is higher than 3. Tapos mesokurtic is if it's equal to 3. Tapos platykurtic is if it's smaller than 3. So kung makikita natin dito, we see here, it's 1.94, which is a number that's smaller than 3. Kaya our answer here would be platykurtic. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of ungrouped data. Do you have any questions before I can move on to another example? Does anyone have no example so far? Can we move on to the next? Okay, I'll take that as it. Justin.
Pa-check yung,
Or-
pa-check yung, paano ito? Elisa, pa-check yung median mo kung tama. May chat ako. chat box.
Uh-huh. Okay. Hold on. 1 second.
Oh,
I'll check muna.
okay. Ang median ng 11 ay yung gitnang gitna. So, 6th yun, no? 6th place. Whatever the value of 6th place in n is equal to 11. Pero sa'yo kasi 10 yan, di ba? Ang gitna niyan ay 5 at saka 6. 5th at saka 6. Arrange mo muna yan. Ayan. Pag na-arrange mo yan, yan. Pag na-arrange mo yan, find the 5th and 6th. Pag pinag-add mo yung dalawa, divided by 2, yun ang median. Okay, nakalimutan ko yata ituro sa inyo yan.
Okay, so according to what Sir said, so since we already arranged it from lowest to highest, so we have to find the fifth and sixth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 84 and 86. So if you add 84 and 86, it would be 170. And if you divide it by 2, it's 85 somehow. There is no
Yes,
85.
85.
There is no 85.
Hindi po, 85. That's the 85. That's the median. If you add them together divided by 2, 85 is the median. Even if 85 is not there, it's not appearing as a score, 85 is your median.
There's no
Okay?
85 in the chart, but yes, that's
Yes, so okay, so what I've taught you kasi is that tawag nito, the data that is giving you n that is odd, no? Odd. If it's odd kasi like 11, it's 25, but not 50, no? So it's the opposite of it. 10 is actually 10 is actually even, no? So it's hard to actually locate the median for the even. Why? Because there is no middle. See, median is median, median is median. For that 10, fifth and 6, add them together divided by 2. Okay? So it does not necessarily mean that the score should not be should be there, the 85. It's not. Okay? So change your median into 85. Very good. Okay, thank you.
okay. Okay, my mic is on. So let's apply what Sir said in the next example. So anyway, let's do it here na lang. Okay. So we have our x minus. So again, so this is our next example. Here, so 81, 83, 4, 5. Okay. So once again, we have this. So let's just color it in advance then because it's easier that way. So first you have to find our n. Once again, like I said, our n is how many scores we have, which would be 10. So again, we have to find our mean, which is the total of all our scores. But before we do that, let's once again probably data. Let's go to data and sort it first. There we go. But in the end, we're still gonna add it. So let's add it. Okay. Perfect. Again, for our mean, we will divide it by our n. So the sum here, yung sagot dyan, 855 divided by 10. Ang sagot ay magiging 85.5. So again, next, our variance. It's okay. Our variance is the sum of the mean. We don't have this yet. I forgot. We have to do this first. So ayan, since we have our mean, we can answer this. So again, equal our x minus our mean. There we go. So we can just drag it down. Pero this is wrong. We have to once again. What cell is this?
Elisa, easier this
Ay,
way. Elisa, easier
yes?
this way. You go to the first cell
With this
and
one?
then F2, click F2. Yes. No, the first one.
This
X
one?
minus mean. Yes.
Okay.
X minus mean F2. Can you press F2?
With here.
Yeah, formula,
Do
formula
I?
F2. F2 to check
F2.
the F formula. Just type equal sign,
Okay, equals.
equals, go to 81, go to 81,
Hmm?
minus,
The
no, do
mean.
not click
No?
that. No, do not click.
Okay.
Write 85.5 and then enter. And then just copy that cell and then
Like this, sir?
paste it. Yeah, paste it to the others. Yes, you
Okay.
copy and then paste. Go. No, Control C first. Control C, Control C. Yung isang cell lang, yung may 4.5. Control C. And then, paste it to the others. Go.
Uh,
Enter.
okay, enter. Sir, I'm
Ulitin
pressing
mo.
enter.
Wag mo siyang idadrag muna. Control C. Control C lang. Control C.
Control C.
Just one cell. Yung cell na yun lang, yung specific cell. Okay, yan. Control C.
Do I have to highlight it muna, sir? Or hindi po?
Hindi, Control C mo lang.
Okay.
Naka-highlight na yan. Ayan. Tapos punta
Ayan.
ka sa susunod na cell. Click mo yung susunod na cell. Yan. Yan ang ida-drag mo pababa. Baba.
So I
Baba.
drag it po.
Drag. And then enter.
Ah, I see.
Okay. Mas mabilis yun. Ha?
Yes.
Tatandaan mo yun, ha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay.
Ayan po. So
Para
that,
hindi ka na hindi ka na mag-change. Okay.
so ayan, you learned how to do that faster by, sir. So anyway, going back here, x minus b raised to 2. So ayan, grab this, raised to 2. Ayan. So you just, once again, you drag all of this. Oops. Ah, there we go. And so we do the same here as well. So raised to 4 naman. There. We grab this and then we drag. So we also have to get the sum of these. So we're gonna highlight that. And then, excuse me. Um, let's just put that up here for a reason then. Okay. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I have to manually answer this because I'm not sure why it's like that. Okay, so the answer is actually just 0 then. Okay, good to know. So anyway, we have to find our variance now. So again, for the variance is the sum of this thing divided by n minus 1, which is 9. So this, you grab that divided by 9, and that's our answer. So the next is this, this standard deviation. Okay, the standard deviation, it's square root of your variance, so equals SQRT because it's square root and then the number. So you just copy this there. And to find our median, so according to Zer, actually, to find the median is there. Since it's already sorted from lowest to highest, we can just get the fifth and sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sixth. So 84 plus the sixth one, 85, plus 85 is 169. So divide that by 2, it's 84.5. Okay. So the next one is skewness. We just, thank you. So to find skewness, again, we're going to check here. It's this one. So it would be 3 mean is 85.5 minus our median, which is 84.5. Then 2. I forgot the. There we go. 5 slash standard deviation. There we go. Our skewness is exactly 0 apparently. So there's also. Okay. The next one for our. Again, you. For M2, you divide this thing by 10. So it's like okay. So it's equals answer here divided by 10. Sorry, 2. So M4 is the same thing. Same formula actually. So yeah, A4. Next A4 is again, like I said, it's kurtosis. So for kurtosis, it's M4. Okay. So it's M4 and then divided by M2 squared. Wait, let's put parentheses here. I almost forgot. You don't forget the parentheses. There we go. And there. So the next one for G2 is that minus 3. And again, we have to find the skewness and kurtosis. So skewness, it's 0. So if it's just 0, that means it is um I guess if I'm not sure if it would mean approximately symmetric since it's all technically 0 since this is closer to 0. But yeah, let's say it's approximately symmetric. And as for this, we have to find the kurtosis. So again, the interpretation for kurtosis, there's leptokurtic, mesokurtic, and platykurtic. We have 1.4, and 1.4 is smaller than 3. So the answer would be platykurtic. And yeah, that's pretty much it for ungrouped data um with skewness and kurtosis. It's really easy. Understand how to use the Excel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's ungrouped data is, in my opinion, easier than the group data. That's all. There's no questions, right? Ano yun? Okay, so I take it there's no questions. Rain, do you have anything to say?
Okay, so regarding the files we use for the for teaching here, we will send it on the GC that I made. So thank you for coming. I wish you good luck for your retake on the exam. So